Is Shedeur Sanders overrated? We're breaking that down and more today on this Takes on Takes episode of the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Krabs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started.
Takes on Takes today, which is our weekly fan mailbag, and was a little disappointed because you sent me the bullet points ahead of time.
Yeah.
And you told me Sanders overrated was one of the ones. I was wondering if this was going to be Dion or Shedeur, but you spoiled it off the top by disclosing that this was a Shedeur Sanders take.
Well, let's get into it from Ryan. Ryan wants to ruffle some feathers here. This is what he says. Sanders would be no more than a fringe top 20 pick if he wasn't Dion's son. He has no elite skills and has a play style that requires more arm talent and or mobility to be successful at the NFL level.
I would agree with the inclination that Shedeur, from a physical traits perspective, is not going to have that wow trait that he hangs his hat on. I think we've seen lesser quarterbacks go before the top 20 or inside the top 20 than Shedeur Sanders. I do think it is ideally a good class to not need a quarterback as like your marquee, we need a new direction for our franchise, because both Shedeur, I think that those are fair questions to ask, and Cam Ward have their own respective questions. Overrated? Do people have Shedeur as a top 5 player in the class, or is it just the mock drafts that are projecting him to be a top 5 player in the class?
Kyle, that's where my mind went with this when it came through, is I thought, well, what do people think about Shedeur Sanders? I don't think anybody's saying that this is a number 1 overall pick in any draft type talent. I don't think that's coming from anybody, but I do think he represents a reasonable chance to be a franchise quarterback. I certainly acknowledge that there's some physical upside that's missing here, but let's not act like he's got a noodle arm, can't move, and is a twig. That's not who he is at all. And I think if he does have a superpower, it's probably that ability to win from the pocket, that ability to deal with pressure. I think he's shown great leadership during his time at Colorado, especially recently, right? Some games that maybe weren't that important, he's still going out there laying it on the line for his teammates. I think there's a toughness factor with Shedeur Sanders. So, no, I don't think anybody should be falling over themselves to get Shedeur Sanders at the top of the draft. But if you need a quarterback, and I think in certain schemes and situations, I think he absolutely represents a reasonable chance that somebody should take an investment in.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Matt says the Chiefs are the second coming of the 2022 Minnesota Vikings. They have a crazy record in one-score games, but come playoff time, their inconsistency and inability to put teams away will bite them.
I mean, do they have trouble putting teams away?
Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it.
On the numbers of wins versus losses, right? They're putting these games. Now, do some teams let them off the hook? Sure. If you were to take the field versus Kansas City this year, I would not blame you one bit for taking the field. I think there's teams that have looked better and been more consistent. I think there's more teeth to Kansas City than what that first Vikings, that 2022 Vikings team had, though. I think there's more substance with Kansas City as far as just like a lot of dominant players that have been there, done that, and proven it to be able to make playoff runs. And I would lean into that and say, yeah, maybe same, but different.
Yeah, that's where my mind went. It's like you're talking about year one of Kevin O'Connell with a lot of new pieces, and that's a lot different than a team that has been to the AFC Championship game every year since 2018, that's been to 5 Super Bowls since then, that's won 3 of them. It's a different conversation. Let me ask you this, because I see this out there from a lot of Chiefs fans. They say that, well, Kansas City's just holding things. They're holding things for the playoffs. They're reserving all these magical potions that they have for the postseason. Do you buy that, Kyle, or do you think the Chiefs are doing what they need to do to try to win every single game to this point?
I think there's probably another gear that they could tap into that most teams couldn't, just based off of the ho-hum experience of been there, done that. Battling complacency is tough, right? And I think when you've won as much as Kansas City's won, there is a human element, but I don't think we're saving special plays or not consciously trying less hard. I think that's just the subconscious comfort breeds contempt, right? And I think that's where I would look at Kansas City. I don't think we're consciously doing anything to make ourselves more dangerous come playoff time.
I agree. And I think the reality is they do have some warts and some significant warts, whether it's left tackle, whether it's your wide receiver cores had to be rebuilt twice during the season, your cornerback situation with, everybody that's not named Trent McDuffie has really struggled. I don't think your pass rush is showing up. So maybe it's just that. Maybe they just have some things on the roster that need to improve. And it's less that, they have this secret menu they only open this certain book up for post week 18. Von Tell getting in here saying that more defensive tackles will get drafted than edge rushers in the first round of the 2025 NFL draft.
More defensive tackles?
More defensive tackles.
Right, let me pull up my top 100.
I'm glad I'm glad you're pulling that up. The sniff test for me here says no.
All right,
but we could get into some issues here with, are we qualifying certain guys as defensive tackles or edge rushers?
All right, so I'm going to put linebackers because I know Jalen Walker is qualified as a linebacker. And I think Abdul Carter is qualified as a linebacker. So those guys.
Well, that would be a big hit to players that I think of as edge rushers.
Correct. So, but I'm saying I'm filtering my top 100 to just the following positions.
Okay.
It's going to be linebackers. It's going to be defensive line. So ambiguous players between the two, edge guys and defensive tackles. Are there any other variations? I'm looking at my sheet. No, that I could possibly be forgetting. What's fun is how many, if you include just, and I'm doing the linebackers, we'll do Jalen Walker, Abdul Carter, and Jihad Campbell from Alabama as linebackers that qualify as edges. How many defensive front players of all of those varieties do you think made this version of the top 100?
In the top 100?
Yeah, in my top 100.
Kyle, I bet you it's 20, maybe more. 30. You're kidding. 35?
It's 34 players.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
One third of the top 100 is defensive tackles, edge players, and hybrid linebacker, edge, pass rush presence players. So, defensive tackles. Do we want the cutoff to be top 64? Is maybe this guy makes a jump?
I guess so.
Okay, so defensive tackles, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, we're doing the thing. Derek Harmon, Walter Nolan, Tylik Williams.
That's Ohio State. Is that where that guy's from?
Yes.
Okay.
Not a first-round player, in my opinion.
So I think that's 4. I think that's 4 defensive tackles.
Okay.
Keep going. Yeah.
TJ Sanders. He's a good player. We need to get to him, but TJ Sanders. And that's it in the top 64. Dante Corleone from Cincinnati, aka the Godfather, is 65.
And people learn that Deion Walker's not a first round player, right?
I'm pretty sure we've come to
didn't take but just watching the tape one time to realize it. But damn it, I sure saw him on every mock draft that I opened up before the season.
He's big. He's
big and athletic. Yeah, okay.
He's 85th on my board, and I probably wouldn't take him there.
Oh, boy. Right. Okay, we got more than 4 edge rushers, like,
Okay.
right?
Jalen Walker, Abdul
Yeah.
Carter, James Pierce, Shamar Stewart, Nick Scorton, Donovan Izaraku, Michael Williams, Princely. I'm still working on the pronunciation of the last name. So you're going to be Princely for now. Landon Jackson, Jack Sawyer, Ashton Gillott, Jahai Campbell, LT Overton, Mike Green, Jared Ivey.
Spike the ball, Vontel. If you get us on
You're
this
right on
one,
this one. Good for you.
boy, smash the ball. But I don't think it's going to be close at all. But that's why we're here. We want to entertain your hot takes. And then, if we're wrong, smash that football. All right, coming up on the other side of it, some coaching trends, discussion, and a whole lot more. Folks, be sure to stick with us. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. It's guaranteed perfection in every single bite. And right now, you can save on unforgettable gifts with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, score an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gift-giving options and experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide for a limited time at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. I just got myself a box of Omaha Steaks. Filet mignons were delicious. We've had the burgers. They're awesome. And they sent these the potato wedges, man. They're so good. Very crispy, wonderful taste. Really easy to put those in the oven. Easy meals. Check it out. That's 50% off at omaha.steaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code NFL. Minimum purchase may apply. Folks, do you struggle to find the perfect gift during the holidays? Maybe gift giving isn't your love language. You overthink it and you wind up with something disappointing, or maybe nothing at all. We've got the perfect gift for you. Skylight Frame. It's a touch screen digital photo frame that your entire family will love. You can upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in seconds. You can do it from anywhere. It only takes a tap on your phone to send new photos to a frame across the country. It's the fastest, easiest, and best way to keep your loved ones in the loop. They'll feel so much more connected to you. We got one for my mother-in-law last Christmas. She loves it. We send pictures all the time, and it's a super cool gift that you can give. And the touchscreen is a game changer. You can swipe through the photos. You can tap to see the new photos, and you can click the heart button to tell that sender that you really like the particular picture. We got one in the counter at our house. It's beautiful. Looks good out there. The photos are displayed in HD resolution, and there's 5 different frame styles that you can choose from. And now, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, you can get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight Frame when you go to skylightframe.com/NFL. That's SKYLIGHTFRAME.com/NFL. Get $20 off your purchase now at skylightframe.com/NFL.
You mean an oxygen tank or?
I'm good, man.
That's a lot.
Good. I know. Wait for the next one, baby. We got a lot to say in the next one here. We're glad the throat's feeling a lot better by this time, man. About Wednesday, I turned the corner there.
Was it 5 days?
Oh, yeah, 5 or 6. Yeah, yeah.
Tis the season, right?
And yeah, just hawking up everything over and over. Michael says, even though the league is trending to hire more offensive head coaches, this year the league will go opposite that trend and hire twice as many defensive coaches than offensive. If I may, this happened, not twice as many, but last year we had 8. We had 8 coaches hired. 5 were defensive-minded, 3 were offensive-minded. Mike McDonald, Raheem Morris, Gerard Mayo, Dan Quinn, Antonio Pierce. And your 3 offensive-minded guys were Dave Canales, Jim Harbaugh, Brian Callahan.
They tried, though. Everybody tried to get Ben Johnson and keep it even.
Do you think he's going to go to one of these teams?
The ones that are open right now?
Yeah, it's Bears, Jets, and Saints.
No.
Who's prying him away, man?
I don't think it's a coincidence that there's a lot of Ben Johnson buzz, proactive buzz about this coaching cycle and like the things that he needs to take a job.
I don't see it. And I think the trend in the NFL right now, like everybody's going to fall on trends. It was the Shanahan world, right, for a while. I think it's player coaches, man. People want these player coaches that are charismatic. They're going to build culture and lay a foundation of toughness and competitiveness. And the candidates that I look at, Aaron Glenn, Mike Vrabel.
Yep.
I don't know if Anthony Reaver's ready for that, but boy, I'd be interested if I was a team. I think that's what people want. I think that's what these organizations are going to want. Who's the offensive-minded version of that? Joe Brady and Ben Johnson? Those aren't charismatic players.
Schematic whiz kids are always going to get calls, right? But I generally agree with you. I think the positive feedback, especially with this generation of players and how the landscape has changed and how the college landscape has changed, and they're a little bit more business oriented earlier. As you're continuing to infuse that into the NFL and that starts to trickle up, having coaches that know how to coach and coach hard, but also lean on their relationships a little bit, I think is going to be really valuable.
I'd say other candidates like Brian Flores, that's not an offensive minded guy. I think your best candidates are defensive coaches, in my opinion. So we'll see how that settles out. Real quick on the Belichick interviewing in North Carolina. Do you have a thought on we got to? Yeah, I beat you to it because I don't know what to say. This would stun me. This would absolutely stun me.
What did Michael Lombardi say? Michael Lombardi had something to say about this. You see, it's effectively something along the lines about saying that he doesn't care about Shula's win record. He cares about winning championships. Yeah, college football is now pro football. Bill knows that environment well. As NFL teams add layers to decision-making, it may be easier to run your program at the college level. He doesn't care about Shula's record. He cares about coaching and winning championships.
If you go win a championship at North Carolina,
you can have the GOAT title, regardless of if you have the wins record or not. You go to North Carolina and pick up the pieces of what Mac Brown left there.
What do you think today's 17, 18-year-old high school football player thinks about the idea of going and playing for Bill Belichick? Is that a needle mover, I
think there's a certain kind of player you can appeal to. And Bill would have to, I think, maybe this is why Bill is as in the public eye as he is from a coaching perspective or from an analyst perspective, right? Showing some of the personality to be a little bit more relatable than what the reputation was in New England.
You think he's going to be head coach somewhere next year?
I think he'll get something. I think he'll get an opportunity somewhere.
Mac Brown to Bill Belichick.
I'll tell you what, it moved the needle for the buzz around the program. Yeah. And sometimes that's all you need. Look at Colorado.
I couldn't think of more different people than Deion Sanders and Bill Belichick.
I understand that, but I'm saying the buzz around the program with Colorado was an afterthought. And then Deion comes in with some players that he had at Jackson State, and the public perception of the program changed overnight. And with NIL and boosters and now pseudo salary caps and this, that, the other thing, you know what I mean? Like, that
so
might
weird.
Be the first piece of the puzzle for. I'll be really interested to see how Andrew Luck does in Stanford now too. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
He's effectively taking a operational GM title for Stanford, which will be cool. I hope he does well.
Imagine not liking football and following everything that's going on. It is so fun. Michael says the ceiling for any quarterback on the Raiders roster in 2025, draft or free agency, is fourth best in the AFC West. Wow. What a downer take. He said, thanks for doing the Levy Grail.
We just did the Levy Grail this week. Right. Back to reality, right?
Right. Thanks for everything there. Appreciate your optimism. No chance they can finish better than worse. They're going to play the games, right? We'll see what happens.
Say the take one more time.
The ceiling for the Raiders in 2025 is fourth best in the AFC West.
Injuries can happen at any time.
Yeah, I think you can look at that right now and feel like that's probably true, but
it's a lot that can change.
Yeah, a lot that can change. August says, And shout out August. We ranked number 1 on his Spotify Wrapped. I don't know if it's
very impressive for a Bills and Dolphins guy to do that for a Patriots fan.
Dude, that's unbelievable. Many would agree that a solid offensive line is important to offensive success, but I would take it one step further. The most key part of offensive success is the interior trio on the offensive line.
I don't know that I agree with that. The most essential piece to offensive success?
Said offensive success.
How about the quarterback?
Well, that makes it kind of crazy to say that it's not the quarterback and it's the interior offensive line. But are you convinced that the interior offensive line is more important than the tackles?
No.
I'm not either. Because
tackles are more of a space player, and that makes it harder to find players that can effectively execute it. There's a lot of tools that you can give in protection to give extra support to your interior players, as far as it's almost 1.5 players on either side, and you could choose where you want to set your advantage to with the center and how you turn the center, and having backs involved, and backs I think are a little bit more reliable when they're a part of a 6-man protection, stepping into interior gaps, and you just have to take on a second level fill player as compared to doing it in space where you have to get the angles right, you got to frame it right. Or if you chip and you're going to chip and help a tackle, you could chip the defender off the tackle and knock him inside, and then he's got a free run inside of the quarterback. Like, I just feel like the job of tackles is still harder, and there's more tools that you have with the interior to circumvent the physical challenges that come with playing that position.
Yeah, man. And if you can win the edge in the run game, boy, does that help you a ton.
Yeah.
All right. We got a lot more to get to, including some underrated players and what teams T. Higgins going to play for next year. Folks, be sure to stick with us. Hey, Locked On fans, I know you're like me and your holiday shopping list is, let's say, just far from complete. Well, if that's the case, I got the perfect gift for the passionate sports fan in your life. Perhaps you've heard of Ice Shaker. Ice Shaker is now officially licensed with the NFL, NHL, NBA, NCAA, and Major League Baseball, and it will make the ideal gift. It's created and used by the Gronkowski brothers. Ice Shakers has sold over 1 million bottles. They've changed the game with their workout bottles, and this is the gift you've been looking for. Go to iceshaker.com and use code LOCKEDONNFL at checkout to save 25% off your order. These things are awesome. I got one in my hands here. It's kitchen-grade stainless steel. They don't absorb any odor. You've been through this. You've had a plastic bottle that you put things in, and they stink like whatever it is. You put coffee in there or juice or Gatorade or something. They stink. That will not happen to you with this. And the design is awesome. Like, you can see the elements here. It's embroidered into this like stainless steel, a lot of detail. And I love like the design. You get a handle, the rubber bottom, and the twist top here. And you get the agitator up top so you can mix up protein. You can make mixed drinks in this thing. And you're not going to hear that clanking of that ball slapping around in the bottle. These things are awesome. They perfected the design. So check it out. Order your team branded bottles today at iceshaker.com and use code LOCKEDONNFL for 25% off your order. Ice Shakers, show your support for your teams with the best branded workout bottles on the market. Ice Shakers. Folks, get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Folks, I'm still in on the Bears plus 3.5 at San Francisco this week. I actually like the money line. So you want to tell me on that? There's a lot of good action to get into. They're starting to put out, the player props for the weekend. Don't miss out. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, here we go. Isaac T. Higgins. Kyle's calling a timeout.
Yeah. Want to send some well wishes to Randy Moss. It's just, Joe's leaving. All right. Want to send some well wishes to Randy Moss. It just, as we are recording, has come out that he's stepping away from NFL Sunday Countdown for whatever personal issue that he's been battling behind the scenes. So just extending some well wishes, Joe, to Randy Moss, stepping aside from NFL Sunday Countdown to tackle whatever challenge he referred to a couple weeks ago in his personal life. So best wishes to Randy.
I will echo that. Ready for Isaac's take here?
Yes.
T. Higgins will sign with the Chiefs next year.
So here's the thing about Kansas City. They have an annoying amount of money to spend if they want to. Right. And they've got flexibility with how they choose to handle cap space. I think they are always going to be the best sales pitch for any free agent wide receiver, provided that receiver does not want $30+ million per year.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that.
So if that's the world that T. Higgins, like where does T. Higgins find comfort in his market? And if it's in the, I don't know, what do you think? Early 20s?
For APY? Do you think that's, I don't think that's the right ballpark for him. I think if he's willing to take that, I think he can go there.
That's what I mean, is it's like, would you take that to go play in Kansas City, or would you rather try to maximize and go milk one of these wide receiver hungry teams that have $90+ million in cap space for all they're worth and go get 28, 29?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the Chiefs told us their intentions when they traded Tyreek Hill of how they want to manage the wide receiver position. I think you've seen more teams align with that. And I'll take the field here. I'll take the field. Nick says the modernization of Super Bowl branding logos in the past decade
stinks.
Right, that's what we're getting to. Now he said that the increased ticket prices phasing out true fans of each team has caused a Super Bowl to feel less grandiose and important than previously. I'll push back on that piece of it, that it's not like the Super Bowl is still a freaking Super Bowl. But I miss the logos, man. Like, it's so identifiable to me. Like, I can see a logo, and it takes me back to that game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like such an important identifier. Like, now they all look the same. They're
right.
bad.
Right. I agree. I really liked the city-specific flavor that 100%. A lot of them have. And now it's just the colors change, so everybody gets the galaxy brain conspiracy theory on who's going to play in the Super Bowl next year.
You're the same way. Don't you see a Super Bowl logo and you remember it?
Yeah.
Freaking care about these new logos?
Yeah, then the early 90s to early 2000s logos was like
right.
Heat.
Show me any one of them. I could tell you what happened in the game. Now it's, I don't know, what did it look like 4 years ago?
Not a coincidence that a lot of the uniforms from that era run laps around the uniforms of this era too.
How are we getting worse with branding in the year 2020?
Whatever. Modernized. These are the things that matter.
Finchy says, Finchy, that's the name, brother.
Okay.
Zach Tom is the most slept on tackle in the NFL.
It's a great player.
It's probably a good take, right?
I don't know about most slept on. Well, I think ball knowers know who Zach Tom is and how good he is.
Well, yeah, but if you went up to a casual fan that's going to be at the Bears and 49ers game this weekend, do they know who Zach Tom is?
What's your threshold for ball knower? Is it Zach Tom?
That's not bad. Might be Zach Tom. He might be.
What are your thoughts on Zach Tom? And if you say who, we know.
Right, we know.
If you say, man, he's probably top 5 starting right tackle and has positional flexibility,
I like that.
Then we also know.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good threshold. Last one here, weekly huddle. Football is built to not push fans of bad teams away due to limited number of regular season games. Less games means easier to justify watching. Bad teams in other leagues with large amounts of games can suck the love for the sport out of a fan. Yes.
I do wish every game didn't feel like a super high stakes affair though. And maybe when you're like Detroit and like you've got the games left that you have and you're 12-1, they don't feel like high stakes affairs at this point.
They want that 1 seed, right?
I know, but I don't know. it's like, man, it wouldn't be bad to drop a 2 out of 3 series every once in a while. And no, it's not the end of the world for
Dude.
your season.
Could you imagine hosting like Locked On Padres or something, or Locked On Mavericks
For 3 straight days.
for like
Talk about the game last night, the game tonight. We got a
Right.
doubleheader tomorrow for a 4.
we talk about one game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I agree with this though, because I loved the Mets. I love the Hornets. I had season tickets to the Hornets for 5 years in a row.
Mhm.
They got bad, and I just like I can't do this. I can't
just
sit there
don't
and act
love
like I
it. Yeah.
care. And
Yeah.
then with the Mets, dude, I used to watch 150 Mets games a year, and then it's just like I can't do this. I don't know if it's because I didn't love those sports as much, or it's just like month after month after month of like the team doesn't have a chance. It's not fun.
It's very easy to become apathetic in season when there's that much to happen. So I think
And when you
that's
stop paying attention, you lose track of what's going on with the team. You lose
Right.
track of going on the league. It's like, I don't know. I do I have the bandwidth to even catch back up? It's like, for me, no. The answer is no.
I tap out.
100% tapped out.
That it?
That's it.
That's all it takes. All right.
Cheers.
Well, that's gonna do it for us here. Surprised you're not drinking out of your ice shaker.
I know.
Mine's downstairs. I did get it.
I'm glad you got it. Is it
Yeah,
Dolphins? Did they send you Dolphins one?
Yeah, man. They didn't send me bills. I can tell you that.
It's the same. It's the same.
That's going to do it for us, Kyle Krabs, Joe Marino. We appreciate you guys checking out the show. You can keep it locked in here on the Locked On Network. It is your teams every day. We will be back on Monday to talk about the action from week 14?
14.
Week 14. So come on back and see us on Monday.